we're going to dive on in today and talk about something that I have been working on for a very long time. And you could call this the hybrid agency, but we are going to call it the marketing ecosystem. Your marketing ecosystem. Now, this is a powerful way to think of things because I think sometimes we get too literal with a value ladder, or we think that it's just like a step, a step, a step, a step. And that's not how our businesses usually end up going. What's interesting is one thing in your business can fuel everything in your business. And there are a lot of ways to do that. But when you only have a simple value ladder, that's a little bit of a difficult way because it's definitely oversimplified. And that's not created for you guys because who here has a lot of different ideas? Whether it's I want to try building different ATM funnels, or I want to try out my hand at courses, or I want to get into consulting. I want to do YouTube videos. I also want to do this. We definitely get a little bit of excitement when it comes to all the different possibilities. And I'm going to show you guys exactly how they can all come into play in building your business. Yes, please. Who's excited about this? Let's pump the energy up. Who's stoked about this? The marketing ecosystem. This is going to change your life with this visual representation. Beautiful, beautiful. Okay, ready, guys? So we're going to dive on in, and there are different things that we could call this. This is kind of like a hybrid at times. But really it's this idea. I used to call this the win-win-win web, but we're going to call it the marketing ecosystem because it just makes a lot more sense and helps you to visually understand everything in your business and how it all plays into each other and how there can be tons of different streams of revenue that all lead to the same end goal. But the key to this process is that you have to start with your mission in mind. And we will keep this simple today, okay? It's I help blank with blank. Got it? Drop your mission in the chat. I'm going to pull up a chair because I think my knees are getting old. Just a little bit. That or it's just too much standing, and then I'm also working out every day. So I help blank with blank. Who is it that you help and what do you help them to do? And just so you guys know, a lack of clarity is not an excuse to make some crazy weird thing here, okay? A lack of clarity is an indication that success will be delayed. Because how in the world can you go after and get what you want if you don't know exactly what you want? So we're going to create these missions here now today. So drop it in the chat. I help blank with blank. I help people with social media skills. I help business owners with Pinterest. I help gyms with lead generation. I help service providers with a plan of growth. Keep them coming, keep them coming. And once you've written it down, Melanie, you'll have to create an umbrella for it. It doesn't have to be a specific niche. It could be business owners with digital marketing. It's okay to create the umbrella. But if you're saying this and this and this and this, and it's like a whole bunch of different things, that's confusing. So if you say, I do email marketing, and I also do organic social media, and I also do TikTok, and I do, that's so confusing, not only for your ideal customers, but also for your clarity's sake in understanding what you want to achieve. So you want to say, what is the umbrella that everything sits nicely underneath? Keep them coming, keep them coming. A lack of clarity creates a delay in success. A lack of clarity creates a delay in success. Today's is like, that was easy. Keep it coming, keep it coming. And if anyone doesn't feel strong in yours, feel free to drop it in the comments and say, I need some help, because we've got some awesome people here that can just so happen to help you. Keep it coming, keep it coming. You guys are doing great. Once you've written it in the chat, I want you to write it in your notebook so you don't lose it. You've got access to it, you can keep it, and you're gonna draw out this entire diagram for yourselves. Sound good? So that is your mission. Who do you help with what? I help people with social media is mine. What kind of people? All people. I used to consider niching down, but we're going like a lot bigger now. So it's like, it's just people. It's not just business owners. It's not just women. It's not just moms. It's people. I help people with social media. Is that a little vague? Sure. But it fits everything under the umbrella. All right, guys, looks like Kim needs a little support. So does Melanie. So one thing that's helpful is if you do multiple things, DIY, done for you, teaching, consulting, little offers, etc., you don't want to mention that you teach or do done for you or anything. It's just, I help blank with blank. The vehicle for help doesn't matter. So while I am a teacher and a consultant and an agency owner, and I sell courses and I have tripwires and all these awesome programs, I just help people with social media. That's why I'm the queen of social media. So it's like everything falls under that umbrella. The vehicle for the help doesn't matter. I help people with digital marketing. That totally works. Is there a certain kind of people at all? Is there a certain demographic or a psychographic? Is it established people? Is it small businesses? It doesn't have to get more specific because you just want to make sure that it covers everything under your umbrella. All right, let's help out Melanie and Kim. Keep it going, guys. Support one another. Keep getting your things going. These are looking good, you guys. You're doing so great. This is amazing. Megan, we could even add digital marketing services, done for you digital marketing services for their business, because you can always downsell from there. That would be really powerful. That's so good. Way to go, you guys. Holy moly. These are so good. Way to go, Carly. Way to go, Kaylin, in identifying where Kim needed support. Once we've got everyone's all in, then we will dive into the second part. So it all stems from your mission. Okay. Now, in the past, we've all learned, many of us have learned, a value ladder. And that's great. So for a lot of us, it would be like clients here, a course here, low ticket here, maybe a tiny little $5 thing here. This would be like our value ladder. But what's very, very difficult about the value ladder with the agency model, if you are supporting anyone with done for you or with done with you services, that person may not be this person. That person might be this person. That person could be this person, but sometimes these people are going to come straight to you. And so it's difficult because I think there's this belief that if you sell a course, then from the course you can secure clients on the back end. And it doesn't always work like that, because the 997 business owner is not always the same as the done for you client. The same thing is true with a low ticket item. They might be testing you out, but a lot of people who buy low ticket items are not going to be your dream or ideal clients. So you have to be comfortable with the fact that our value ladders, it doesn't work. Got it? Someone tell Russell this. Just kidding. Feel free, I actually don't mind. Value ladders don't work for agencies. Not the same way. Now, if you've done a value ladder before, perfect. You have some components that we're going to use in the marketing ecosystem. So if you've ever felt like there was a disconnect between some of your lower priced offers and clients, or your lead magnets and your clients, that's totally fine, because it wasn't meant to have a congruency. They're two very different audiences. I look at like all of the programs I've ever sold for $9.97, and out of all those people, only maybe 3 or 4 people would have been ready to hire me, but 2 of them wouldn't have even been people I would want to work with. I've only had about 2 clients go through any of my courses where I'm like, that would actually be a good fit for a client. And we've sold thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars worth of courses. I'm talking just in Elite alone, I think we did 375,000, I want to say. So like, we've done a lot in 997 programs. That being said, it's not always a perfect match. Does that make sense, guys? And has anyone ever felt that like incongruency? It's not quite right. Totally, right? Awesome. You guys are feeling like this is in alignment with where you're at. So let's talk about what works instead. That is the marketing ecosystem. And this is also how you create multiple streams of revenue within one business without feeling like you're losing your mind. Now, the beautiful thing about a marketing ecosystem is if you help X with Y, you never know at what point that person could be ready to get a course, or could be ready for consulting, or could be ready to become a client. You just don't know when they're ready for it. And so this was a huge game changer for us, is when we started to develop this ecosystem. So we've got clients, right? Let's put clients over here. This is done for you clients. Okay. So is that tied in to I help blank with blank? Does that align? Done for you clients? Yeah, absolutely. Right? Does it all align? Yes, beautiful, perfect, awesome, great. Well, what about consulting clients? Does that also align with your mission? Yeah, it totally does. That's pretty cool, isn't it? So the beautiful thing about an ecosystem is you recognize that it's not always just as simple as a value ladder, because people are going to hop around a little bit. A client who maybe was once a done for you may want a course now because they're going to train their team in-house. A client that was once a consultant client may be ready for done for you services. We're not going to isolate people and say, oh, if you bought my course, you'll never be a client, or if you've done my done for you services, you'll never buy my course. We have to recognize that all of this is a massive ecosystem, and people are going to hop around to what serves them best. So let's say you want to create, I'm just going to use like a 997 course. We'll call this a core offer. We'll call this core offer 1. It should be related to the mission. Got it? Your courses and the programs in your ecosystem need to tie in with your mission. Okay? Does that tie in? Yes, as long as you make sure that it does. Now, if I were to suddenly release a hairstyling course, would this be literally completely unaligned? Can everyone admit that? Like, for real, this is so crazy. If I released a hairstyling course, it'd be completely unaligned, right? It wouldn't make sense. Would people still want it? Maybe. But would that be a complete and total distraction from the entire ecosystem that we're building out? Yeah, absolutely. So while people might want it, they may realize like this has nothing to do with it. It's a one-off, it's a silo, it's a distraction. And in fact, when we took Elite into funnels, that was a distraction because I didn't want to go all in on funnels. So that was very difficult because it was like, this is not related to what I want to teach and what my whole ecosystem is. And I don't want to keep updating it when every time ClickFunnels makes a change. So if you're imagining courses, tripwires, lead magnets, YouTube videos, and you don't see how they fit in, and we'll be continuing to draw here. If you don't see how they fit into your marketing ecosystem, you need to put it in the someday box because it doesn't make sense right now. The stronger you can build your ecosystem, the more sustainable your business is, the longer your reputation is. You build a massive work ethic into this ecosystem, and everything fuels each other. Okay, so let's say then you're like, oh, people also want this course, and this is core offer number 2. And as long as it aligns with the mission, we're good to rock and roll. Okay, so then you decide, you know, I really like this, but I also want to do like a done with you option, like a coaching program for this. Done with you / coaching. As long as it relates to your mission, you're good to add it. Each of these things adds. And what's neat is the more offers you have available, the easier it is to market to your list without feeling like you're saying the same thing over and over and over again. It's more important to be like, okay, does this fit in my ecosystem? Awesome. I could sell this day 1, sell this day 2, sell this day 3, sell this day 4, sell this day 5. You feel like there's so much more to offer and people can figure out what fits for them at this time. And then down the road, you're like, you know what? I love selling my core offers. I made $50,000 last year selling core offers. So you create another one and they all kind of play into each other. Pretty powerful. Do you guys see how this works? Let's talk a little bit about these types of core offers. One of the things that most people don't realize is that they're never their own independent silos. They all tie into each other. And what's crazy is for a long time, we understood like the value ladder of SMU. People would start an SMU and then they would join the click. But then it was like, okay, now what? Do they become clients? Like, where is the breakdown? But ready for this, guys? This is actually a web. This is not individual silos standing by themselves. Because if someone buys from you once, you don't want to assume that they're not going to buy from you again and buy more and want everything that you have. So people can go from a membership to done for you client. They can go from a membership to done with you. They can go from consulting to a core offer. And in fact, once someone's a buyer and loves the stuff that you put out there, they're going to continue to want to stay in your ecosystem. So we want to honor them and make sure that there's enough stuff. You can ultimately have a lot of core offers and different options going out. You can do intensives. You can do even in the event could be its own revenue stream. It's not as profitable. I want to put that out there because that's really important to know. So what does the top square say? That one says memberships. All right, now let's talk about real fast what these core offers can look like, because I personally love the idea of having courses, and courses are something that you can charge $197 to $19.97 for. I will say that the $19.97 price point is a lot harder to sell at. I really think that the sweet spot is between $4.97 and $9.97. I really like those prices because it attracts someone who takes it very seriously. It's a nice hunk of cash. Like, I am never sad when I literally get a payment of $4.97 or $9.97. I love when I sell those. That's one of my favorite things, in fact, is getting those payments. And then you see it come through and you always celebrate. So what is really powerful is recognizing that these programs can be different price points, different offers, but they all just have to relate back to your mission. Done with you is something where it's kind of like a mix between done for you and consulting. Maybe it's like, okay, you do this part, I'll do this, and then we meet together and bring our pieces together. So that's a really powerful way to honestly make sure that you are able to charge in between consulting and done for you. So core offers, I call them core offers, but all of these truly are. So got it? These are all of your core offers. These are courses, but we actually in our business call them core offers because they're a huge part of our ecosystem, and I just really like them. All right, we're going to dive into what comes next, because by themselves, none of this holds power. It is currently closed, right? Totally closed. So basically, for every single core offer that you have, you need to create entry points. And we're going to start with done for you clients. Now, a lot of times, people would say, oh, you need a lead magnet. Cool. But there's a little bit of a different methodology that goes into this, and this is client attraction machines. I'm going to redo this and call it just CAM, the client attraction machine. Every single one of us is going to want to have multiple CAMs available. You want to have multiple client attraction machines available, and they're built out over time. It's not something where you just like work straight for a week and ignore all your clients and get these done. They're done with little priorities. So you're going to have 3 CAMs available, client attraction machines. If you guys have not yet seen the training on client attraction machines, we have an awesome one inside of the Social Click on how a client attraction machine comes together. It's a little different than a lead magnet. You would not put it necessarily a tripwire at the end of your client attraction machine, because your goal is to get them to an application and or scheduling a call. So these are really powerful. How do we generate traffic to them? So many different ways, but we'll get there in a minute. Now, when you think about your other programs, consulting could probably have a CAM because it's a higher ticket thing, and you want to make sure that you like the people that you're working with. It's going to give you guys a lot of priorities to focus on, and that's a good thing. Just 3 to 5 a day, you'll have an entire marketing ecosystem within a year. And done with you is in between those two, so you'll still probably want these. Can some of these double up? Yeah, absolutely. The same 3 client attraction machines could lead to all 3 of these, because the differentiator could be the sales call. But we still want to like distinguish that there are at least 3 CAMs leading to it. So as you look at your client attraction machines, you ask yourself, does this lead into done with you? Does it make sense? Does this lead into consulting? Does this lead into done for you? And not all of your client attraction machines may make sense for done for you clients and consulting and done with you. So one of the things I want you to do is create a spreadsheet that tracks your client attraction machines and ask yourself, does this feed done for you? Does this feed consulting? Does this feed done with you? And then the differentiator is the discovery call, where you decide, is this a good fit? Can I see us working together? It's a very powerful way to kind of decide what comes next, is that discovery call. Now, obviously, that's going to be different than, for example, something into a membership, which is probably going to be some type of ATM funnel. Now, you can use any of these on courses, memberships, different things. I'm going to show you guys several different ways that you can build out the ecosystems of your courses and your memberships. I personally prefer one with courses versus that one with memberships. So I'm going to build them out in the respective area. So this is going to be an ATM funnel. Everyone know what an ATM funnel is? At the moment, this is converting very, very, very well. It also generates a lot of money. I love ATM funnels. And this is where you're going to put a low ticket offer. That's $27 to $47. It's something that provides value. I really like bundles. I think bundles are awesome with like a masterclass, and I think they're really powerful. So a low ticket offer goes here. But before someone gets the low ticket offer, they need to get the lead magnet. So that way you're capturing emails. You have the ability to create email sequences that target people and bring them back to either the low ticket item or to the membership ultimately. But everything should be pointing towards the membership as the ultimate solution. So you're going to go lead magnet, low ticket, and then into your membership. I really like this one. I am going to be testing one that I'll share right here on the membership, but only with the annual option. I haven't done this in a long time live. So I'm very, very, very excited to do this. This is the ATM funnel. I like how Kaylin put it. It pays you money to generate leads, especially if it's through organic lead generation. They can be a little bit trickier to play like the dollars in, dollars out game with, but sometimes it really works. However, if you guys build out the marketing ecosystem the way I'm teaching you, remember, this is a 1 year, 3 year, 5 year goal. This is how to build a machine that runs 24/7, even sometimes without you, especially if you slow down on this side of it. But the goal is to build something that's sustainable, that always keeps you moving forward, always stretching for more, and always gives you core priorities to focus on, like things that are on your business. Before we go any further, this is so important, and I think that this gets lost sometimes. How do I know what my priorities are? How do I make sure that my priorities are needle moving? Here's a massive hint and a huge shortcut. If it's in the finished ecosystem, it is a priority on your business. It is needle moving. Anything inside of here is not wishing and praying. Anything inside of here is an action plan to make this happen. So this is super, super important to recognize. Anything inside of the marketing ecosystem is absolutely needle moving. That is a priority that you want to do 3 to 5 of per day. Okay, so you get paid to generate leads, especially when you're organically generating. I have 4 ATMs. I think we're almost on 5. Actually, we have a bunch that we have to finish and whip out in the next 2 weeks, but obviously we're really focused on this and finishing the internship. But I have ATMs on my organic social media everywhere, and so they generate leads even when I don't run ads to them, and they also generate sales. So ideally, for every single core offer or membership, besides the done for you side, you would have an ATM hooked up on the front end so that you're always generating leads, paying for some ad spend and growth and getting some small wins, and then ultimately selling people into this program. But you also can sell people straight into these programs. You don't have to send them through this. Just like you wouldn't say to someone, did you go through my client attraction machine? Oh, I don't think so. Get back into the back of the line. They don't necessarily have to go through that to book a strategy call with you. These are just tools to make it happen so that you're not always having to do all the work. I'm going to share with you guys something that's working really, really well. And that is, are you guys ready for this? It is a core offer that is sold on a webinar. But here's the crazy part. After they opt in, so they're opting in for the webinar, we are offering them a low ticket offer. And then on the webinar, we offer them the core offer. This one is crushing it. It's doing so well. It's actually kind of mind blowing to me. With this on the last week's webinar, we spent $3,000 on ads, 1,600 immediately liquidated. So that's like an ATM. So we only spent 1,400 on ads. And then on the webinar and through the replay, we did 14,000 in sales. So we made 10 times this. Will that same number continue tonight? I don't know. Sometimes it's going to, sometimes it's not. It's not always going to be a perfect equation, but I'm going to keep doing it until the law of average gives me huge numbers at a 5 to 10x ROAS. So return on ad spend. All right, so this works really, really, really well for courses. This, you can do it live. I recommend doing it live over doing a webinar that's automated or evergreen, because those just don't convert as well anymore, unless it's a killer webinar that was already crushing it live. This system right here, the webinar ATM, we're testing it out with SMU starting in a week or 2. So we're going to test out doing that every week live and seeing if we can just supercharge SMU full of new members that are full of life and super excited. Okay, let's see. Tripwire. Yeah, the low ticket offer is like a tripwire. Lloyd says that one line about everything in here being needle moving just helped me a lot with my priorities for the day. Awesome. Is there a difference between a CAM and an ATM? Yes. So a big difference between a client attraction machine and an ATM is that the client attraction machine, you don't necessarily want to try to sell these high ticket clients a low ticket price. Can you? Sure, but I wouldn't recommend it. I would recommend getting them straight to the application or booking a call. So in the client attraction machine, it's like a quiz, a cheat sheet, a guide, a masterclass that's free. And then ultimately with the call to action being book a call, book and fill out this application. So that's a huge differentiation. And what was the second question? What is an example of a CAM? I'm going to pull up one example. The big thing, and if you guys haven't yet done this, there's a whole program in the Social Click about how to build out client attraction machines. So we'll make sure to get that bumped up, or if someone can bump it up, even better. But basically, you want your client attraction machines to be something that identifies your ideal clients. So here's an example of one for me. And this is, are you ready to outsource your Facebook ads? This is a phenomenal client attraction machine because this one, there we go. This one ultimately self-segments who my dream clients and customers are. And it does take some time to figure out which ones are going to attract the business owners that you want. But the best way to learn is by doing them, creating them, building them out. Oh, I almost grabbed my pen's marker, like the marker tip. So go ahead and go through that real fast, guys. You can kind of see it's literally self-segmenting who would be an ideal client. And I got 2 clients from that. Just that one right there. Isn't that kind of crazy? That quiz right there brought 2 clients to me, which totaled $10,000 a month. So I've never run ads to it. I would definitely consider it at some point. I don't personally like to spend a lot of money on generating these types of clients because I just assume that they're going to find me through the whole ecosystem. And I would prefer to already be 100% in profit by the time that they get here. So I could run ads to them. It's just never been a huge source of like focus for me. So I really like to instead let them come to me naturally. I'll do a Facebook Live where I drop my client attraction machine. Sometimes we'll put them on our website. We'll put them in our email blasts. So that's pretty powerful. That's kind of how I like to think about like a client attraction machine. It's a different ball game. Thank you, Kellyanne. So this is an ATM. This is a webinar ATM. Any questions so far? We're going to just take a quick moment to pause for questions. What questions do you guys have besides how to style hair? Crazy long hair, how to get it to like actually behave. It's intense. Just kidding. We're not going to talk about that. What questions do you guys have so far? Because we're going to go one layer deeper in just a little bit. And then after lunch, we're going to be doing a lot of the how on at least some of the aspects of this to really support you guys in understanding how to actually start these for you. What questions do you guys have? Drop them in the comments. And if you don't have any questions, say, I'm good. I'm good. Keep on going. I just want to make sure we're breaking everything down. Where do you plug the ATM on the map? So this right here is an ATM. It is a lead magnet to a low ticket offer or a tripwire. It's liquidating all the time there. This right here is an ATM. So remember, traffic is always coming from the outside here and it's moving inwards, and then they fall in love and they're hooked into your ecosystem forever. Really good question. So I like to plug them in over here and over here. So half of your web is ATM and the other half is CAM. Yeah, it is. I will say, obviously, if you only have done for you clients and then you have a membership and 3 core offer courses, then it would probably be 75% or 75%, 80% ATMs and then 20% CAMs. It doesn't have to be 50-50, but it's just anywhere that you want to plug people into done for you services, you want them to have a different experience than just a lead magnet to a low ticket offer. Does that make sense? You want them to have a very VIP experience. How long does this typically take you to build out? Which part of it, Kathy? Like the whole ecosystem? Because the whole ecosystem, we have, I want to say all of it. This is actually a pretty accurate representation of what we have, minus, I guess we could click in one of these two places. So that's pretty accurate representation of what we have right now. Every single part of it takes a different amount of time. So for example, I can whip out the copy for a lead magnet in about 45 minutes and it's a really good one. Then I send it to a designer. If I had to design it, that would be not a strong suit of mine, but it would probably take me an hour to design it because I'd be freaking out in my head about it, but I'd still get it done. The bundles, I can usually create the low ticket bundles in an hour of actually sitting down and thinking about it, 2 hours if I need to create the content for it. The core offer is like an actual program. I'll give you guys an example of a core offer curriculum so you guys can see what it kind of looks like. Oh, that's not the right one. I want you guys to kind of see what it looks like. It's everything that is highlighted in this program, and it usually takes a couple weeks of consistent filming. I try to film several videos per day for our programs. That's been really helpful for me, is recognizing it all happens with just little steps. I usually launch my core offers, my programs as betas so that I have the pressure of people inside waiting for me to do it. Otherwise, you just have to be self-disciplined to get it done. So here's an example of a curriculum. That's our TikTok curriculum, and everything highlighted is already in there. I have several different things that I still want to add, but I feel pretty good about this, and they love the program. So this is a good curriculum, and I just do a few every day. So like for once this one's finished, and this one we get finished on Monday, then we go really hard into SMU and the YouTube one, but I've already been recording 6 to 12 SMU lessons per week, and those just happen by a couple per day. Keep it happening. Georgia says it's 9:30 a.m. here, and I just got to say, I wish I could start every day with 3 hours of transformation coaching and training like this. Wouldn't that be awesome? A client attraction machine, those take a little more time because I really want to focus on the strategy behind them. So I put a lot more thought into the process, a lot more strategy. I make sure it looks really nice, that there are no typos. So it takes me about an hour to build out a client attraction machine. The webinar process, that is more in-depth. That is a little more challenging. I used to do it all myself. And then thankfully, Jess really wanted a place on our team long term. So she taught herself funnels. And I have to say that was one of the coolest things ever, because she learned how to translate my brain for like, here's what I need, into what I need, and then create it. And that was very, very powerful. So now I can say, hey, I want to do a webinar on Tuesdays for SMU. Can you get the funnel together and all the email automations with all the rules, and then add a tag to those contacts 4 days after the webinar, after the cart closed, that basically puts them into a list that allows me to do open enrollment to them every 60 days. And she'll be like, yep, got it. And then she'll just ask a quick question. But that did not used to be the case. So I had to figure out a lot of those things and workarounds myself first. So if you were going to go with something, I would go with an ATM or a CAM over the web ATM, because that takes more technical blah. And everything that can go wrong will go wrong with webinars. And so like, I get why I never really went all in on them, but I'm ready to go all in on them. And we are, which is really cool. So any other questions, guys? These are such good questions. You're good, you're good, you're good. Now, I have rushed the process of creating lead magnets. I can create them sometimes in 15 or 30 minutes if I'm very clear on what I want to create. I'm going to show you guys how to speed up that process. I have rushed the process of the bundle. Like we created that Facebook ads bundle. I think it took me 15 minutes to actually put it together. And if I already have a lot of the assets, then I can whip them together really fast, which is awesome. Core offers, there's not really a rushing of core offers. It's a bunch of little steps at a time. And so I actually love it. I would do it all again, because what's awesome is then every time you sell it, you're like $4.97, $9.97. This is awesome. I'm happy. Okay, I think we're good. Drop in the chat. I'm good if you have no more questions and you're ready to keep on learning. I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. I think we're all set. Y'all are getting hungry, I think. All right, let's get rid of the ATM annotations. So how in the world are you supposed to generate traffic to these? Because there's no way you can run Facebook ads to a bajillion things at a time, especially as you're learning what works, right? No way, Jose. I'm going to be honest with you guys, you don't start with Facebook ads. That's one of the fastest ways to learn what works and what doesn't, but it's also one of the fastest ways to go broke if it's not working. So I actually recommend filling things organically, and I'm going to share with you guys the keys. We'll do a key over here. We're going to do YouTube. And I want these to be burned into your brain forever, because these are so powerful. Podcast, blog. These are the big three. These are the only three that are long-term, self-sustaining. Actually, we're just going to do blog. B, make it easier on me. These are the only three that are self-sustaining. I love Pinterest because it's a great search engine, but it relies on content. So you want to make sure that you have content before you jump into Pinterest. But once you have these regularly, can you speed up everything with Pinterest? Massively, absolutely massively. But I want you to really pick one at least of these that is going to be your hub for consistent content. I personally have YouTube and my podcast, and those are the two that I consistently create on. The blog is one that we have been working on, and I just haven't cracked that discipline yet. It's one that I'm really working on, but I also want to finish up getting to 5 consistent YouTube videos per week. And this is the first week where I think we finish it, having done 5 recorded per week, every week, which is really exciting. So my goal is to create as much of this long-term searchable content as humanly possible, because that's going to work for you forever. Did you guys hear that? Forever. So that means if I do a Facebook Live, that's great, but it does have a limited lifespan. Once in a while, someone will like go back and stalk your videos, or for some reason it'll show up in their news feed. Awesome. But YouTube, blog, podcast, all of those are searchable. They're easily discoverable. I'm looking at our Typeform just to see how many leads we've generated in our Click Client Attraction Machine. And I've only done a few Facebook Lives almost every day, but it's been awesome. Between this and matchmaking, just from evergreen sources mostly, we've generated hundreds and hundreds of leads, which is really powerful, especially when I hook them in to YouTube's algorithm. So that's really powerful. Even though those videos may not go as viral, that's when you really start to see things trickle in over time. So one beautiful thing is that you can literally create the type of videos that attract the type of clients that you want. So let's say you want to secure a client on Facebook ads. You might do how to scale Facebook ads. This could be a YouTube video. This could be a podcast. This could be a blog. It could be all three if you want to become very, very dedicated towards the long-term success of your business. So we're going to go ahead and you could do a YouTube video on this. that leads to there. And then that's going to work for Edver, just so you guys know. You could do a blog post, and I'm going to show you guys how to actually simply turn a YouTube video or a podcast into a blog in a way that's going to speed up the whole process. And we've got the podcast. So those are organic, evergreen ways that will generate traffic into everything that you do forever. And I know this because I've spent a lot of time on old YouTube videos. Has anyone ever watched an old YouTube video from someone you admire? Has anyone ever done that or spent a lot of time watching those videos and you've like opted into their old lead magnets and they're still broken and like whatever, they're like not even a part of what they use anymore, but you're still interested in what it is that they offer? Anyone feel that way? The beautiful thing is, even with the client attraction machines, you guys can create basic how-tos and expertise. You can guide people through the strategy. If you just create consistent videos on YouTube related to your mission, people are going to trickle in, especially because on every YouTube video, on every blog, on every podcast, you can have multiple places that you send people to. So you can put in the bio your client attraction machine and a lead magnet that fits them, aka the start of your ATM funnel. So instead of saying, I struggle with what type of content to attract people, just start creating that YouTube content about Facebook ads. Just start creating it. Because right now, if that is coming up as a barrier for anyone, it is an excuse. Some content is better than no content. Some content is way better than no content. It gives you a starting place. 20 views is better than 0 views. 100 views is way better than 0 views. It's even better than 20 views. So my challenge to you is remove the barrier of I don't know what the right type of content is and just start creating content that relates to your mission, and you will identify what seems to be a lever over time. But you have to remove the excuse of, and this is not just aimed at Kelly, this is aimed at anyone who feels this way. You have to remove the excuse of, I don't know what kind of content to create. Okay, trade services with someone in the click and say, or trade this service with someone in the click. Say, can you create a video plan for me? Or go to your blueprint, your playbook, and actually just create all of those. Basically, people are going to find you. And if you have a link to your CAM and one to your ATM, oh my gosh, let them decide what they want to do. I think that that's a really powerful thing to understand. So trade with someone, say, hey, listen, I'm too close to the forest, can't see the trees. Do you feel the same way? Do you want to create YouTube plans for one another? Awesome, let's do this. And then you have to get into the discipline of actually creating the YouTube videos, right? Anytime that you're sitting there saying like, I'm struggling, this is speaking to myself as well. It's because you haven't let go of the rope of struggle and decided to just do it. So you can sit there and pull on the tug of war of struggle, but there's like no one on the other side. It's tied to a tree. So you can just let go of that and take the time that you spend struggling, actually just creating and filming YouTube videos. Are they always going to be perfect and right? No. Is that okay? Yep, absolutely. You will not regret it once you start, but choosing to struggle is a choice, and we have to make that super clear. So anytime that you create content that relates, especially on this long-term searchable content, these platforms, that relates to your mission, it's going to bring in the right people from somewhere in your ecosystem, so you can't really go wrong. Does that make sense, everyone? And yes, Kelly, your content is amazing and it needs to be on YouTube and people need to hear from you. And I've actually put trainings completely on YouTube inside of the social click, how to do the A to Z, the research, the tags, the thumbnail, the editing, the publishing, all of it. Like you guys have all of that. And then pretty soon we're also going to have the Rachel's YouTube Academy. And then you guys will get that too. But don't wait for that to just start putting stuff out there. You've got a training ready for you. This is true for every single person. So what's neat though, is like the more I talk about TikTok, the more people come to me and say, I need help with social media management. I need help with TikTok. Can I hire you for consulting? People just find me the more I talk about TikTok, even if I'm talking about how to get famous on TikTok, because people do find you from content. And so while there may be certain videos that will be more geared towards attracting clients, put your cam, put your ATM link in every single video with the description of what it is. And you guys all have that awesome YouTube bio that can support you with explaining what it is. If you're going to rock it, then seriously, you are going to rock it. Anyone know that Kelly's going to knock it out of the park? Like, she totally is. It's time for her to let go of the rope of struggle and be like, it's time, let's go. Once you're ready to take up space and make it happen, it's going to happen. Now, the beautiful thing is, I know that these can feel intimidating because they're long-term, but there's a different way that you guys can also put traffic in here. But if nothing else, create at least one piece of content per week that leads to one of these, right? Like one of these that leads to your ecosystem, because then that way you'll have 52 entry points that are searchable, that are serving people, giving value. I would love to see you guys create at least one piece of these every single week, no matter what. Block it out, time block it, like right now. Make it one of your priorities every single week, because these are going to serve you forever. Yes, please. Anyone want to be served forever by the content that they create? We love you, Kelly. You're amazing. So another way that you can do this, oh no, I left my cap open. I always do this when I start talking, dang it, is do Facebook Lives with the call to action that either leads people here or leads people to your client attraction machine. We're gonna do just the ATM for now, just to keep this nice and clean. You can also do both. Has anyone seen my videos on my Facebook page where I'm advertising both the Thriving Business Owners Bundle and support for your business with marketing? Has anyone seen those? Every time I do those, we at least get one lead, and we also get a sale, at least of one, of the Thriving Business Owner Bundle, but usually it's quite a few more as people watch the replay. So, your TikToks are amazing. YouTube is similar, but less music. Amen. YouTube is, I think, easier once you have the formula, and I've got the formula for you guys. So it's going to be not easy, but simple. Melanie says, in our blogs, we should link to our camp. Yes, in your blogs, guys, link to as many lead magnets and cams as humanly possible. And in fact, you can go back every year and reload everything up. Some of you guys were on the click call where I literally reloaded my whole YouTube with links and made sure that it was jam-packed, perfectly optimized, made sure that all of those bios were done. And I've been going through and doing it systematically throughout all of our content on YouTube. So my challenge to you is get the blog out there, but put your cam in there. You can put an ATM in there if you want, but you want to make sure that there's a space, there's somewhere to put that. Without content, you have nowhere to put your cam or your ATM. Without that, it's really awkward talking about it. Like, hey, do you know if Facebook ads are the right fit for you? Click here, and you feel kind of spammy. But instead, if you create a piece of content and then call them to action, you're putting value out before you even ask for anything in return. So you can load your blogs up, load your YouTube up, load your podcast up with links in your show notes. And I always call out my show notes on every single episode. So Facebook Lives, really all social media can go to these. I think I killed my pen. Instagram, yeah, I definitely killed that. Way to go, me. Let's see if this is a little better. Oh, that one got a good rest. You can share them on Twitter. You can share them on anywhere, on podcast interviews. You can share them on any kind of interview. Anytime you're asked to be on an interview, whether it's a Facebook Live in a Facebook group or a podcast, no matter what it is, say, hey, I actually have the perfect value-packed bundle for your people. Would it be okay if I shared it on the podcast to, serve your people even better? No one is going to say no. They're going to let you do that. Once in a while, someone will say no, and you don't have to be mad about it, but start to ask for that. Hey, I also have this. Is it okay if I share it? Those are content upgrades. Like, you're just serving and serving and serving more. Okay. So yes, you can send social straight to a cam. Yes, you can send it straight to the ATM, but it's even more powerful when it comes from YouTube, blog, and podcast, because those are people who are searching with intent most of the time. They don't just stumble across your content. So this is an entire marketing ecosystem. And does it require being self-disciplined? Without a doubt. Does it require intentionality and time management? Without a doubt. Are you guys glad that we covered those things yesterday before we dive into how this all comes together? Because it's an intense plan, but it's really, really important to set up. And when you see how everything comes together over time, it's very, very powerful. The key that I want you guys to remember, so you don't get overwhelmed in the beginning, is as long as you know your mission and you know one or two of your core offers, this is built out one step at a time, one priority at a time, 1 week at a time, 1 month at a time. I want to ultimately have 10 core offered courses besides everything else that we have. And that's been a big dream of mine for a while. And in order to make that happen, there is no shortcut. I can't block out a week of my time. That's not how it works. It's done with little steps every single day that ultimately build it out. Like, for example, our YouTube course. I just got the lead magnet done. Next up, I'm going to work on the outline of the course and then pick out a section of that to put into our ATM because it's going to be juicy and gorgeous. Whew. Okay, we're going to take a couple minutes. Who here loves this? Drop some love in the chat if you're like, this makes sense. I see how everything comes together over time. This is not meant to be built overnight. I need to say that over and over and over again. The marketing ecosystem is not meant to be built overnight. This is something that takes time and intentionality, and this is why I'm programming you guys to literally become aware of your time, use time blocking, use priorities, self-discipline. If you build this out, I literally don't even see a way how you could fail. Does that make sense? This is so beautiful. And you know what? These are multiple streams of revenue. You have memberships as a stream of revenue. You have your core offer course here. You are done with you as a stream of revenue. You have your done for you clients. You can even consider some of your ATMs their own stream of revenue, especially if it's organic sales.